Now, for the few minutes I have been here, I have followed very keenly the presentation, which is very well articulated, and I am confident that those figures are right, because if the body language of Mr. Ouko is anything to go by, then I saw him clap very hard and agreeing and nodding on every slide that those figures are a clear representation of the auditor's report for the fiscal year 2016-2017. Now, county assemblies, as we all are aware of, are established under the Constitution of Kenya to perform, among others, a mandate or function of oversight on the county executive. The county assemblies have done that very faithfully. And the fact that the executive, the figures in the county executive are looking the way they are looking does not mean in any way that the legislatures are not doing their work. I want to take us back a little bit to the history of devolution for 2 minutes. County assemblies, and I know we are not a very popular lot, Auditor-General and your team, because we have been known occasionally for carrying the maize away and for fighting over foreign trips and throwing chairs. But I want to put to you that that is a very, very small percentage of my membership. The majority number of MCAs are Kenyans who are committed to ensuring that Kenyans get aspirations of devolution under Chapter 11. And so when you see a mess being carried away in Kisumu, it doesn't mean, or in Isiolo, it doesn't mean that the county assemblies are not doing their work. County assemblies are largely, and 100% actually, a representation of our society, because we exercise sovereignty which is given to us by you, the voters, or you, Kenyans. Now, in 2013, and I have had the privilege of serving for the second term, albeit unopposed, we started off from local authorities. And I want to address some of the issues I have seen here. The local authorities, defunct local authorities, had employees who county assemblies could not do away with, or county governments, for that matter, could not do away with. Some of them were basically relatives of former councillors. I have a case in point where I found an accountant who was actually supposed to be the head of accounts, seconded to my office. And when I called for the file at the County Assembly Service Board, we realized that the fellow had been hired as a borehole operator and has never been to a classroom of books of accounts. I am not an accountant, but at least I think that I appreciate basic principles of accounting. And this story, this narrative is so true for many counties. Pending bills going as far as local authorities. Then we come in and find counties that are having governors in 2013 who largely believed that there were 47 presidents. And I recall the first meeting in Naivasha when 47 governors were demanding 12, a minimum of 12 bodyguards each and silence. If you have been in Nairobi since then, you recall there was a time traffic was terrible in Nairobi because when governors were having a meeting, there were regional presidents. And they were flying two flags, a Kenyan flag and a county flag. Some of them, like the place to be, did not even wait for the flag and emblems to be legislated on. The first week they had a flag. But although today I realize Machakos is not a place to be, they don't pay pending bills. And before long, we realized, or governors were told that Kenya is a unitary state under one president. The president is only one. And before long, the National Assembly was agitating. At the same time, actually, a senator today was pushing a motion to disband the Senate. And as that conversation was going on, the Senate realized that they could actually summon governors, and they started summoning them even when there was no reason to summon them. Some of the senators simply wanted to run to be governors, and so they called them, like the governor of Nairobi. I remember him going physical with the governor then in Nairobi, who was in the senator is the current governor. And before long, my members realized that they had enormous powers, and they learned a new word called impeachment. And they started impeaching everyone. Even if you don't give them foreign trips, they threaten you with impeachment if you don't pay their allowances. Now, in a nutshell, I want to paint a picture of hope that although the figures look the way they do, county assemblies will and continue to play their oversight role to ensure that through instruments such as House committees, Public Accounts and Investments Committee, these reports are tabled and are actioned. There is no excuse whatsoever, and I heard that from the presenter who did an excellent job, for any county government or county executive today not to have an audit committee. Several years after regulations, the PFMA regulations came into effect, and I would be very keen to know which counties are those, and the assemblies should be able to take up that. On source revenue, the truth of the matter, Auditor-General and your team, is that we grapple with expenditure source, and it is a matter of fact. Assemblies might not have the capacity to be able to identify some of those gaps that exist. In the year in question, the fiscal year in question, you remember that this was an electioneering year, and governance, I would imagine, there was a lot of pilferage at the source because of running for office. And those are some of the questions that we need to inquire into. Lastly, county assemblies, as much as we are working very hard to do a good job, have one fundamental problem, which the Taxpayers Association and Kenyans at large, the intergovernmental bodies, must engage in this conversation. That to date, the Public Finance Management Act is skewed in such a way that the CEC Finance and the governor call the shots even on monies that is supposed to go to the assemblies to be used for oversight. He who pays the piper calls the tune. You expect an MCA whose salary is dependent on a governor to oversight the same governor over billions of shillings. What are you saying? We hope that you assist us to persuade Parliament to amend PFMA. Last but not least, I am aware that the Senate is engaged in a bill called the County Oversight and Accountability Bill 2018, which, from where we sit, this bill seeks to give senators a bit of work. And I want to remind senators that Article 96, the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, is very clear that Senate is supposed to protect counties. Protecting counties does not mean doing what county assemblies are supposed to be doing.